Good afternoon. This hearing will come to order. I ask unanimous consent that all members be allowed to sit on the dais and ask questions of our witnesses today. Without objection, so ordered. Today, the Veterans Affairs Subcommittee on Health will address a very serious issue: the vulnerability and the underreporting of sexual assault and other safety instances at the VA residential and inpatient psychiatric treatment facilities. As a registered nurse and a woman who's been involved and a counselor in domestic violence, I have seen firsthand the pervasive and damaging effects sexual assault can have on the lives of those who experience it. Last week, the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, released a deeply troubling report entitled VA Healthcare: Actions Needed to Prevent Sexual Assaults and Other Safety Incidents. GAO found that between January 2007 and July of 2010, nearly 300 sexual assault incidents, including 67 alleged rapes, were reported to the VA police. Many of these alleged crimes were not reported to the VA leadership officials or the VA Office of the Inspector General, in direct violation of VA policy and federal regulations. The findings of the GAO are disturbing for many reasons.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, for yielding and giving me the opportunity to speak here today. And I think all members of this committee were sickened by what we read in the GAO report. The prevalence of sexual assault incidents at VA facilities, the lack of accountability from VA and its leadership, the lack of safeguards in place for the victims. As a co-requester of the investigation, along with the ranking member, Bob Filner, I contacted Secretary Shinseki and urged him to provide an immediate response to the GAO report and to make it public so we could have this hearing today. And I appreciate the Secretary working diligently to do that so that we could move forward. We found these findings so egregious that Ms. Buerkle and I decided to act immediately by introducing what you've just talked about, H.R. 2074, and we intend to move this legislation expeditiously so that veterans are not undermined by the very system which is supposed to be protecting them. In the past week, some have dismissed these allegations, comparing the size of the VA system and the number of allegations to the private sector. Let me be very clear. There is no comparison. Just one assault of this nature, one sexual predator, one veteran's rights being violated within the VA is one too many and is absolutely unacceptable. If we need to do more as a committee to protect our veterans and the employees at VA, we will. I understand that rape in particular has always been a difficult charge to prosecute. And though we have made strides in getting victims to speak out, we know that for every rape that is reported, many more go unreported. Therefore, we need to know how many victims have not spoken out and how we can reach out to them so that not only is justice done, but that we can provide them with the proper care and support. So today, we expect to get answers to the following questions. How widespread are assaults at VA facilities due to the lack of reporting protocols at VA? How many cases have been prosecuted? How many are still pending? How many employees who allegedly perpetrated assaults are still working at VA? What has been done to protect patients from fellow patients? And what is VA doing to ensure that this never happens again? I was looking in some of the citations of the report on page 8, specifically where it says criminal matters involving felonies must be immediately referred to the Office of Investigations. VA management officials with information about possible criminal matters involving felonies are responsible for prompt referrals to the OIG. Goes on to talk about examples of the felonies, and one of those is in fact rape. Also, VA defines serious incidents as incidents including incidents on VA property that result in serious illness, bodily injury, including sexual assaults. Why were they not forwarded as appropriate. The safety and security of our veterans is paramount. This committee will demand answers to assure that fellow veterans and the public that VA facilities are safe havens for our veterans, VA employees, and that nobody's rights are violated. Madam Chairwoman, thank you for your interest in taking this issue so seriously and working on this piece of legislation. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today with you and my good friend, the ranking member, Mr. Michaud. Now I yield back. The report covers 07 to July of 2010. Can you tell me what the statistics are from July of 2010 till today of sexual assaults that have been reported within the system?
Sir, we do not have that information available here today, but we will provide that to you.
Would it have been a reasonable expectation that somebody might be asking that question?
We had not anticipated that question, but we do have the information and we can provide that to you in short order, sir.
If you would, for the record, so that we can make sure that all members have the answer to that question. When can we expect it?
We would provide that, sir, within 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yes, sir. I want to make sure that we have all the information together in a complete way. We will try to provide it sooner.
I hope that you have all the information together and it won't take you 3 weeks. Further, ongoing investigations by Oversight and Investigation, our subcommittee, shows that senior leadership at least one facility that we're aware of siphoned money away from facility security to provide funds for other projects. I've also been told that staffing security billets, there is some evidence that senior leadership at VA do not see the value of their own security forces. And these consequences of failures involving these is unacceptable, as you might imagine. But what I want to know is, how can we be sure that VA is spending the money that this Congress allocates to them appropriately?
Sir, that's incumbent on us in leadership to ensure that the funds that are allocated for the purpose that are intended are spent for the purpose that the Congress and all of our appropriators assure, and I guarantee you we will follow up with any instance in which that is not done.
And then, thirdly, I think it's ironic. I went to your website this afternoon and found a tab, Women's Veterans Health Care Military Sexual Trauma, and of course this deals with women's sexual trauma, but as we know from the report, this is men and women.
Yes.
But it just opens up with the question, did you experience any unwanted sexual attention, uninvited sexual advances, or forced sex while in the military? Does this experience continue to affect your life today? And I guess my question is, don't you find that ironic that this is on the VA's homepage?